everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is A Bookish Persuasion. My name is Amanda, and today we are going to be doing my March TBR, which, yes, I know it's late into March already. Filming this today, it is March 6th, so I'll become a better booktuber in the future, but for now, we're just going to keep letting it be fun, okay? And we're going to hear my cat Bob in the background, too. So this month is another ambitious TBR month. I'm participating in 4 readathons, or I'm going to try. BuzzWordathon, which is hosted by Books and Lala, which is March 1st through the 7th. I'm going to be doing the Backlist Readathon, which I believe was hosted by Jacqueline, which is March 7th through the 13th, I want to say. Then I have the Spring into Readingathon, which is March 15th through the 21st, which is hosted. There's probably other hosts in this, but the people that I found them, Kaylani, Simply Me. And the last one is the 48-hour Bookopolyathon, which is March 20th through 21st by Becca and the Books. And she announced that that was going to be a completely live readathon. So there's like 10 different hosts, each taking a section, and they're going to be doing it live. So that's pretty cool. So I'm hoping with this ambitious TBR of mine that that 48-hour readathon will definitely help, because I did not assign any books to that yet. I'm hoping I can fit in some of my other ones for that readathon. But I do have lots of short books if I need something to just add in. Bob. So let's start with BuzzWordathon. So this is a year-long readathon. It's going to be the first week of every month, so the 1st to the 7th of March. And the BuzzWordathon this month is time. So you're supposed to choose books that you want to read, or choose books that you may not have wanted to read that have the word time in the title. So I have 4 different options here that were already on my TBR that I wanted to try and get to. The first one I don't have a physical copy of is This Is How We Lose the Time War. And that's going to be the group buddy read for this BuzzWordathon this month. At the point of today, I have already finished that one. That's the only one I finished so far. Next, we have The First Time She Drowned by Carrie Kletter. And I don't know much about this. I know it's a thriller because Brooks and Lala recommended it years ago. And something about a girl and her mom. Like maybe her mom died or something. I don't know. But the cover's cool. So Cassie O'Malley has been trying to keep her head above water, literally and metaphorically, since birth. It's been 2.5 years since Cassie's mother dumped her in a mental institution against her will. And now at 18, Cassie is finally able to reclaim her life and enter the world on her own terms. Okay, so it did have to do with her mother. Her mother put her in a mental institution. I actually enjoy reading books about characters who have a mental illness or who were put into a mental institution. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I actually really enjoy that. And then lastly is the one I'm probably the most excited for. I'm finally beginning the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. The first book is The Eye of the World. So, you know me, my big chunky paperbacks. So I'm very excited. I have no idea how I plan to get to all these books, but you know what? What are we if we don't have ambition, right? We have a constant TBR pile. On to the Backlist Readathon. There are 6 prompts. So I'm just going to tell you what the prompt is and then tell you the book that I chose for them. So the first is to read a backlist book published before 2017. So for that, I chose The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd book in the Mistborn trilogy. This was published in 2008. So this does meet that prompt. This is the conclusion in that trilogy, although I'm pretty sure there's other books in this series. But for those who don't know, the main character's name is Vin. She is what is called a Mistborn, which means that she can basically digest metals and burn them to have like superpowers. It's really, really cool. And the series so far, it's a very slow burning series. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you don't like slow burning series, you're not gonna like this, Bob. But I love it. The second one had such a fantastic ending. I can't wait to read this 3rd one. So that'll be exciting. The next prompt was to read a middle grade backlist. So for that, I chose Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. This is the 2nd book in the best-selling Nevermore series, so The Calling of Morrigan Crow. I read the first one, I want to say in December, and it was amazing. It was so good. This is worth all the hype. Basically, we're following a character named Morrigan who was supposed to die, I think on the eve of her 11th birthday. I want to say it was 11th birthday, but she actually gets swept away to this magical world. I think it's called the Wonder Society. I don't know. But the first book was all about this competition for her to become a member of the Wonder Society or Wonder Society. It's been a little while. So this is the sequel to that. And I believe, as far as I know, there's 3 of them out at the moment. So that'll be fun to read. Bob! Stop. The third one is read a backlist in my favorite genre. So of course, a lot of these are my favorite genres anyway, but I chose just to have a book selected, Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout, my third chunky paperback of the month. I mean, if you consider this to also be a chunky paperback, but it's a middle grade, so I don't feel as intimidated by that. And actually, a lot of people say that they get intimidated by really long books, like 700, 500 page books. I love it. I love long books. I just feel like they're excellent. So this is the second in the series of A Blood and Ash. So this is about a girl named Poppy who was a maiden who wasn't allowed to be seen or touched or interact basically with anybody because she's supposed to be involved with the ascension of this group of people. But this series, the first one is one of my favorite books of all time now. It's smutty, it's fantasy, it's romance, it's strong female lead. We got war kind of things going on. So definitely enjoy this series. I'm really excited to read the second one. The third one comes out in April, so I need to get to this one. I think it comes out in April. The next prompt is to read an Own Voices backlist, and I wanted to read Laughing at My Nightmare by Shane Burcaw last month, and I didn't get to it, unfortunately. So I want to read it this month. So he is a YouTuber, him and his now wife on YouTube. I'm going to put the link to the channel below because they are adorable and I love them, and I think they are so wonderful for the disabled abled community, if that's the correct way to put that, because he's just a guy, and this is his life, and it's just really, really cool. But when at the time he wrote this, he's a typical 21-year-old wise-ass blogger with an enthusiasm for life and all of its bizarre and beautiful moments. But he was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy at age 2, so he's been in a wheelchair his entire life, and so it's just about living with his nightmare. But they're such an adorable couple, so I'm really excited to not only support him, but also to read his book. So that's going to be really eye-opening to learn about his experience more. Next is to read a book of the month. No. Next is to read a backlist recommended from a booktuber. For that, I chose Miss Marvel Volume 1. So a graphic novel. Yes, I'm going to try and be nice to myself. So, I mean, I would never have picked this up unless I'd heard about it on a booktube. So I'm excited. I know it's a female superhero. That's all I know. So hopefully I'll at least get to that one because it's a graphic novel. And then the last prompt was to read a book of the month backlist. And for that, I chose Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This was such a hyped book last year. I was so disappointed I didn't get around to it. So now I am. And all I know is it's about, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a haunted house, but it's definitely like a haunted type theme, aura. I don't know, whatever you want to call that. But it just seems cool, and the cover is beautiful, so I'm excited to read that. So that's all the prompts for the backlist readathon. So next we have the Spring Into Readingathon. So that one has 5 prompts. So the first one is a book that's been collecting dust. And for that, I selected Siege and Storm, which is actually the second in the Shadow and Bone series by Leigh Bardugo. I really need to finish the series because the Netflix adaptation is coming out very, very soon. This is the sequel. I can't even remember the people's names, to be honest. And it's not at any fault of this author of this series. This was published a while ago, but I'm really transitioning out of young adult, I think. So it's not my favorite, but it was definitely a good series. I could see a lot of people really enjoying this. So this was about Alina, and she was in this, like, it's been a couple months. I don't remember exactly, but she was like a cartographer, the person who draws maps in like a army type camp, I want to say. And all of a sudden, like, their unit gets attacked, and she realizes that she has this magical power, and it's a very rare power that nobody has, and she's supposed to like do something really awesome with it. And so somebody comes and they take her to the Grishaverse to become a Grisha, and train her in the power of the magic. So this is the second one in that trilogy. So looking forward to continuing on in that. Next we have a book with a green cover. I chose Girl in the Woods by Aspen Mattis. Now, this is a nonfiction. This is about Aspen Mattis's exhilarating true life adventure of hiking from Mexico to Canada. I love nonfiction books. I love hiking and like traveling type books. So I'm excited to read that. I'll let you know what I think. Next is a classic fairy tale or a retelling. So I chose a book off of my These Books Will Distract in 12 Months list. So 12 books I put on a list in a video in January, and if I don't read them at the end of the year, I have to unhaul them. So I picked Ronit and Jamil, I want to say is how you pronounce their names. This is by Pamela L. Laskin. All I know is this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling. I want to say it's in the Middle East type of setting. Let me see if I can find out. Okay, it's a barrier fence divides Israel and Gaza. So yes, so this is just a retelling, I believe, of Romeo and Juliet. So it's very short, has speckled edges, which are cute. So hopefully I'll get to that one, get it off my TBR and off my self-destruct list. Number 4 is a strong female character, and for that one I chose Lore by Alexandra Bracken. Now Alexandra Bracken is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. I read her series, the one that turned into a movie about the kids with superpowers. But I also read her Dreadful Tale of Prosper Reading middle grade series, and I've really enjoyed that. So this is about, I think, like the children of Greek gods, and or maybe the Greek gods themselves, and they become mortal for a certain amount of time, and they can be killed, and like people go after and chase them. So I'm excited to read this. Was on one of my most anticipated reads of the year, so that is exciting. And then lastly, the last prompt was a group book or a buddy read. Now, I can't remember what the group book was, but clearly I have way too many books on my TBR already. I don't need to keep adding more. So instead, I'm carrying over the buddy read that I started last month with my friend Katie Winchester over on BookTube, and another friend who's not on BookTube. And today I have finished this now, but it was a carryover from last month, and we did buddy read this together. Or I may have finished a little bit earlier because I'm not good at buddy reading. That is all of the books I plan to read in March. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I got to 10 last month, 12 the month before. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you guys for joining me. Sorry about Bob, who's the poor little lonely cat who never gets any love or food apparently, and just cries there at my door. And I can't let him in because he'll just be destroying everything the whole time. But I look forward to talking with you guys next time. Bye.